Good evening, everybody, and it is a great day for racing here in Darlington, South Carolina, where we find ourselves racing tonight at the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Many drivers getting locked and loaded here, ready to go for the race tonight, as this will be the final crown jewel here of this evening. Hi, I'm Patrick Morrison here with SimTraX Broadcasting, and we are here at the second to last race here of the final playoffs of the season as we get very close for the track that is too tough to tame. So many drivers have battled back and forth whether or not this is going to be the exact time to make their move. Right now, locked into the playoffs is Dalton Tucker, sitting in that number one position, and he is definitely looking to put his best foot forward here tonight, because there is a good chance he is not going to be able to make the race over there during the race that we're going to see at Homestead, Miami next week. It's going to be pretty tough. We're going to weigh our options back and forth whether or not that is going to be the case out there. We're going to kind of root our guys on, and maybe there's a possibility that there is an option for Brian Jones to make up a lot of ground here tonight. The 45 Ford needs to come in clutch here and definitely put his best foot forward. Let's go ahead and take a look here at our race here for tonight at Darlington Raceway. 275 whopping laps out here. That is definitely going to make for a long race, as we are starting 30 minutes ahead of time. I can tell you guys out in the chat, you have obviously paid attention. You guys know to go ahead and show up a little bit early here as we are getting ready to go. They got less than a minute to finish gridding here before we get going. Fortunately, so some of them haven't started up their cars yet, because that 77% fuel limit is going to be a little tough. They're going to weigh it back and forth, and we'll see how long they can stretch it. Depending on some of these crown jewel races, it does move up to 100%, but that 10 sets of tires, that is going to be plenty for them here tonight, as they're going to be tearing up those right fronts all night long. This, of course, being a fixed setup league, no fast repairs. I'll be your lead producer here tonight, and Greg Thiessen will be hanging out in the race control booth, ready to go here for this 73-degree night. This is going to be a fantastic race. Can't wait for you guys to see how Darlington, the track that is too tough to tame out here, and what this really pushes on for our following drivers, and if they're expected to make a huge race here tonight. I'm super excited to see what all these guys have. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our race is going to consist of and where these guys are going to be starting. That moves us on to Dalton Tucker and Vincent Arthur sitting 1 and 2. Moving on to Brian Jones, who's second in the points, sitting third with next to Josh Conover. Good start there by the number 8 Chevrolet. He's going to be looking out the windshield and not out the rear view, where you'll find Jacob Gladelick and Matthew George moving 5th and 6th. Nick Geilis out there in the Ryan Newman machine. He'll be sitting in 7th. John Skavnicki is 8th. Wayne Eastwood 9th. Ryan Housden 10th. And Jared Skinner will be starting in 11th. That is on the inside of row number 6. Glad to see Hunter Sr. back out here tonight, as he had a horrible night last time we saw him. Change of a paint scheme out there to the Coors Banquet beer as he moves out of the Silver Bullet. He'll be starting in 12th and moving on to the final part of our field here, where we're going to find Nick Ham, who you're used to see out there in that well-and-modified tour car. He'll be starting there in 13th, and Chase Durheim, glad to see him joining us back here in the number 99 Roundup machine. These guys are getting ready to go here, and I am excited to bring you guys this race, as this is going to be a fast one. Expect drivers to be putting a lot of speed down on the track. Dalton Tucker and Josh Conover, just a couple of them out there, have been talking about it takes a little bit to figure this track out. We're getting ready to see if they have figured it out already. Let's go ahead and get this underway. The Mountain Dew Southern 500, waiting for the green flag. Dalton Tucker and Vincent Arthur, front row, here we go. lap number 2 halfway complete as they go across the front of the Earnhardt Towers. Taking a look at John Skavnicki looking underneath the number 20 here. This is currently the battle for the 6th position. High move there from the number 20 car. Out there driven by Jacob Gladelick. Take a look at Wayne Eastwood starting to take that CarQuest machine look in there as well. Don't expect to see anything change there, as right now we see Jacob Gladelick rolling backwards. Obviously, looks like he finally gets this thing kind of plateaued out a little bit there, as he is unfortunately losing a ton of speed. Gladelick rolling back 2, Matthew George is back 3, but obviously this is a difficult track. Who's going to earn their stripe first? And you can see even pushed to the edge net out there is saying who's going to get it. All right, we'll take a look at Matthew George getting close to the wall. There's the knock. A little scrub to the side there from the number 25 as Ryan Housden works his way around. They're excited to see Ryan Housden hopefully return for the 2005 season that they are already starting to draw out there in pencil for what's going to happen next season. I think a great addition would be that number 41 Chevrolet out there, the target machine, to come away with some sort of, hopefully, a full season coming around, because I think right now Ryan Housden would definitely be a top 5 driver. Speaking of top 5, Dalton Tucker is still leading our race here by 3/4 of a second over top of the Jeff Gordon machine of Vincent Arthur. Josh Conover brings up our 3rd spot. Brian Jones is 4th. And Nick Gillis is sitting down in the 5th position as we get lap number 6 started up here. John Skavnicki is in 6th, moving down 2 is Gladelick, and Wayne Eastwood moving up to 8th. Ryan Housden up to 9th, and Matthew George praying he can hold on to a top 10 here, and Hunter Sr. sees the 25 getting out of shape. Right now is not looking good out there for the Brian Vickers machine. Matthew George now back down 7 positions. Collecting up in the 13th spot. Nick Ham is the only one yet to pass him. Nick Ham does end up being very competitive here over the night, although Nick Ham does decide to attack a little bit later on. Does not want to get in any sort of trouble, seeing how much these guys can get hammered in at this track. As you can see, a couple of the drivers down there, and talking a little bit of the voice chat that we've kind of got hanging out here for just a bit. We'll see if we can get that eliminated here after a little while, as Josh Conover, not bad from his last time there, 29:17. That's enough to match the time that Dalton Tucker put down last lap. Tucker notices that little chat there from his crew chief out there, and it looks like Dalton Tucker picks up the pace, gets a 29:15. Wow, smoking time there as they continue this roll. Lap number 8 is underway as we currently see Conover making it down the Boeing backstretch into turn number 3. That definitely works out very well, and it looks like Vincent Arthur falling off the table here. Looks like a disconnect from the 24. I'll tell you what, Vincent Arthur can't catch a break here, and I think he finally comes back. Watch RC to keep an eye out there on that DuPont Chevrolet. We lost him for almost half a lap here, and right now Vincent Arthur, hoping his race does not get scrubbed here, as he's had a rough going here during these playoffs. Let's check out there in the chat. I see Drift King out there. Stella joining alongside us out here, not in the booth, as this is a different Stella out there in the chat. I see pushtotheedge.net is hanging out there, and of course Alanis out there rooting on Brian Jones in the 45. Jones does need to make up some ground here tonight, if not come away with a win. Currently, Dalton Tucker getting 5 bonus points for going ahead and leading the lap, and is already lap by lap trying to see how many laps he can bite off for the most laps led here tonight. Each one he gets is just getting him farther and farther away from Brian Jones in the points. Jones needs to come up with some speed here tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us here at SimTraX Broadcasting. Currently, the National Oval Racing Association is the only league we are currently broadcasting at the moment, as this one wraps up here at the end of the season. We always seem to have it going on like gangbusters there at the beginning of the seasons. Everybody going to be kicking them off brand new at the start of the spring, so this will give us an opportunity to notice, meet with some of our drivers out there. We'll hang out with them and see how they how they work together in the off season and what setups these guys decide to adjust out there, seeing there's a possibility that these cars will be semi-adjustable next year. I'm excited to see that. I think sometimes, a driver like Wayne Eastwood out here would like to make a A little bit of a tire pressure adjustment, may be able to fix his race car to the way he likes to drive instead of it being just a full-on fixed setup. As you can see, Wayne Eastwood a little loose there coming out of 4. Housden goes ahead and ducks on out of the way, and Eastwood now having to going to end up getting met there by the number 99. 84 hasn't scrubbed the wall yet, but it looked like the 99 of Chase Durheim, who's been on a hiatus here for a while, was about to make contact with him. From the dead last spot, he's moved up 4 to sit in 10th. Look to see how currently how Chase Durheim is going to do. Do not currently show him under any penalties or anything like that. See Atlantis out there joining us and saying hello. Don't forget, Jay, I did see you as well. I even respond back to you before the broadcast, since you were already ready to go here for our crown jewel here of the night. 14 laps halfway complete here. Wayne Eastwood still sitting in 9th. Right now, he is the driver's getting forward and backwards right now out of that CarQuest machine. Right now, Kyle Busch knows all about charging forward. I'm expecting Wayne Eastwood to let these tires settle in. He is noticing everybody's line through 1 and 2. Enter low, ride high in the middle, and then exit low. And that has given these guys an opportunity to pick up some kind of speed out there where they can get the turn exit that they're looking for. I've been to Darlington a few times. A driver who really can't seem to get through this track complete is Brad Keselowski out there. I believe currently driving the number 2 machine. And every time he seems to exit turn number 2, somebody makes contact with the guy. But one driver who is able to actually make up a ton of speed out there and be a name well known is William Byron, who also drives the number 24 car, as we kind of hone in here on Vincent Arthur, who's currently falling back to now the 1.3 second range. Right now, past couple of laps, Dalton Tucker has been putting about a tenth of a second per lap on Vincent Arthur as he continues to absolutely burn away and continue to spread that gap. Right now, Dalton Tucker, 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds. Apparently 3 and 4 is his strong suit here as he makes it to now a second and a half out in front. This little palindrome here in the front, the 42 leading in front of the 24. Moving on back to Brian Jones, who sits in 3rd. Currently he's looking at 2.3 seconds before he can find Vincent Arthur out there. And 3/4 of a second behind does sit our Bud machine of Josh Conover. Actually trying to see if he can drum up some luck out there. Saying that the Dale Jr. machine has had some success here at this track. I know his dad definitely had a ton of success at this track. He has definitely been able to push on through and come up with a ton of opportunities out there. Actually back in this, the Mountain Dew Southern 500, Jimmy Johnson was actually the winner here of this race. Dale Earnhardt Jr., that is, actually won at Phoenix International Speedway, and winning the final race of the season actually went to Greg Biffle at the Ford 400. I'll have that stream up for you guys next time we get ready to rock here, so that way you guys can be ready for the upcoming race that these guys are going to be having and finishing out our season. Let's roll on back here to the Home Depot. Tony Stewart, number 20 of Jacob Gladelick. He started 5th, down in 7th, looking to get one spot back as John Skavnicki takes it high. Ryan Housden, who's been rolling his way up to the front, he started top 10, looking for another one. There's a Darlington stripe, and John Skavnicki's going to earn his. Great job. John Skavnicki loses not 1 but 2 positions here. Ryan Housden moves up to 7th, 21 laps into this one. And we've got a ton of action happening here right about mid-pack. The front is separated by a huge amount, as right now we take a look here at Wayne Eastwood to the outside. Chase Durheim has been following that 84 the entire time, passing around the outside. Gutsy move there by Wayne Eastwood. It pulls out a successful turn. And he goes ahead and makes that solid pass. Normally they say that Darlington is a very difficult track out there, especially when you start seeing drivers passing there on the outside. is going to be quite troublesome, but that did not seem to be the case. Nick Geilis now falling off the table. Down into pit road he comes. Right now, Geilis heading into pits at over 60 miles an hour. I believe that's going to cost him here. I don't know if Nick Geilis is having a problem out there. We'll definitely kind of keep an eye on there and see if I've got anything in the infield car care center on our Ryan Newman number 12 Ford. Unfortunately, that is 1 Ford down. Only 3 remain. Brian Jones, his still sits in that 3rd spot. As we move on back. Right now, only a couple more Fords. Chase Durham and John Skavnicki. They're hanging out in 8th and 9th, and that's for the time being. Hunter Sr.'s been under fire here. John Skavnicki off the wall again. I'm wondering if he's got a little bit of right front damage here. The 43 has been making contact with that wall pretty consistently now. I don't know if right now if he's fried that right front tire off or what's going on. Geilis over 30 seconds in the box, waiting to see if he returns back to the track here. Hate to see him get checked out here, 22 laps into his race. Currently, here we go. Jared Skinner in the 39 Chevrolet. Haven't had the opportunity to see Jared Skinner here. This will be the first time. Normally, I believe out there in the 39, we've seen actually Kyle Rochelle driving that car. There we go, John Skavnicki. There's another scrub to the walls. You can see the sparks coming off the side. And currently, right now, that body team down in pit road already keeping an eye on that 43. It looks like the steering is getting insanely tight here for John Skavnicki. We'll see if we can get a little drone footage closer to that 43 here. He's got some damage to that right front fender. That's exactly what we're starting to see out of his Ford Taurus. Yeah, right now, John Skavnicki has been on the roll backwards here for the last 6 laps, and here he goes. Exiting turn number 4, taking the air off the rear spoiler, is Matthew George. I don't believe that was intentional at all. No contact was made. But obviously, John Skavnicki has overheated the tires as he fumbles to keep that car under him here. What a tough run. Currently, as Matthew George drives away, that's going to move us up to Jacob Gladelick. Currently, our top 5 is separated by 8 1/4 seconds. Now, I've got to say, that is pretty dismal. I don't know if Dalton Tucker is changing his lineup here. As I said, it was 8 1/4 seconds, less than 8 seconds now. Jacob Gladelick up to the 42. As they are starting to squeeze it together, I think Dalton Tucker might just be backing it off a little bit and thinking some longevity here. Currently, even Vincent Arthur's now making a catch up here. Boy, you see Dalton Tucker. He's obviously practiced this track a ton here. Notice how he drops that left front tire off entering into turn number 1. That's almost what he's looking for each time he goes through. Yes, you may be wondering if he knows exactly where that is. Yes, there's actually a pavement height difference between that dotted line and the bottom of the apron here. Right there. Drops it off the table just a little bit, and then it bobs him on up. In between 1 and 2. He's going to drop back on down to the lower seam, and that helps sling him out of 2. Beautiful. Well, Vincent Arthur trying to replicate that same line. It has fortunately worked for the 24. As Dalton Tucker still backing it off. Have a little trouble catching him here. Jacob Gladelick now stretching him back out to the 8.1 second gap that he has before he can find the leader. So Vincent Arthur has shaved it down under to 1.6. Let's check back in on Hunter Sr., who looks like he's got a line here on Chase Durham. Durham out there in the 99 Roundup car. see a lot happening out there from the Jeff Burton machine. Hate to see him gone for so long, but super excited to see him back. Brings a ton of intensity out here to the track. We'll keep an eye here on Hunter Sr. as we are currently passing Nick Ham. Nick Ham now going down a lap here. He's been down a lap for a little bit currently as we saw our 8th and 9th place drivers passing him. Ooh, shot to the wall there by Jared Skinner. All right, stripe earned for Skinner here. Let me take a look. All right, guess it could be worse. Doesn't look like any worse for the wear. That looked like it hit hard enough to send the fender into the wheel. So we'll check in on Hunter Sr. here. As currently, Sr. was able to pass Chase Durheim. Great job by all of our drivers out here. Everybody keeping it pretty much clean between each other. I haven't seen any contact or bumping between any of the drivers, just between them and the track. As we hone in on our number 45 Expel machine. Our only Ford here in the top 5. Josh Conover and Jacob Gladelick finishing it off in their Chevrolets for the top 5. Currently, our top 5 drivers are unchanged, though. Dalton Tucker, Vincent Arthur, Brian Jones, Josh Conover, and Jacob Gladelick all finishing it off. We're moving on to Ryan Housden, who sits 6th. Wayne Eastwood is 7th. Hunter Sr. 8th. Chase Durheim 9th. And Jared Skinner in that 10th spot. Once again, do appreciate you guys here joining us at SimTraX Broadcasting for the Mountain Dew Southern 500. So we've seen 35 laps complete here at this track. 1.3 miles these guys go. We see them currently working their way down the Boeing backstretch here. Jared Skinner seems no worse for the wear after the contact there with the wall. 6.5 minutes for Nick Gillis. He is yet to return back to the track. I don't think Gillis will be able to return here. What a tough race here so far. Right now, I think we're kind of petering right over the halfway mark here on fuel. We'll see some enter early, some enter late. Hate to see that the 2 drivers I was really excited about seeing tonight was Cody Reeder and Dustin Kleba. I would like to see those 2 guys make it out here tonight. That was going to be a huge run. I think they would have definitely tossed it around and made these guys really nervous the way they race out there. So I believe the number 19 was not able to make the race. Hopefully we'll be able to see him at Homestead. I know Dustin Kleba's been very strong at this track. He can just smooth out those corners a little bit, but he does that a little bit with his car. And then he goes ahead and finishes up that race. Let's check in and Chase Durheim. He's starting to make up some ground here. Starting to reel in Hunter Sr. Jared Skinner starting to close the gap. 9/10 of a second behind. Not bad here. I do want to note that we probably have about another 15 laps, if not a hair more, on fuel. Vincent Arthur has closed the gap to now under a second. 9/10 of a second he sits behind. Vincent Arthur picking up the pace. I love seeing it here so far. Currently, Vincent Arthur has been running a 1/10 of a second faster. So notice that Dalton Tucker has been faster. Dalton Tucker has been faster here at the beginning part of this race. He actually commanded the first about 27 laps here. After that, it about leveled out there. And Chase Durheim, a little of an unscheduled pit stop here for the 99. But Vincent Arthur had actually been picking up the pace here now that the tires are well worn in. Dalton Tucker backing it off just a hair here. Hanging top side. Oddly enough, looks like Dalton Tucker running a little more of that Joey Logano line up toward the top. As Dalton Tucker starts to fade back, Vincent Arthur reeling him in. Not bad here by the 24 DuPont Chevrolet. Looks like he does have the hook buried into that rear bumper here of Dalton Tucker. starting to slowly pull him in. On 0.8 of a second. Durheim already working his way out of the pits. So 40 laps Chase Durheim went, and he decided to stay out just a little bit longer. Right now, Nick Gillis does not seem to be returning to the track. 9 minutes and 45 seconds. So that may be it for the 12 here tonight. He's having a horrible night. It looked like he was doing all right, but he gets undone here. Notice Chase Durheim here. Here's with fresh tires, looking to get one of his laps back here. Ooh, nice little cutoff here by Dalton Tucker. Dalton doesn't like being raced by lapped cars. Going to go ahead and let him around, as that little move had Dalton Tucker checking up just a little bit here. That allows Vincent Arthur to make up a ton of ground, now less than 0.4 of a second. Here we go. This may be the battle for the lead. As we keep an update there on pit road, John Skabnicki working his way on down pits. Currently we get higher toward the top, as I see the Bandit Racing League is saying hello to us out there in the chat. Appreciate you joining alongside of us here tonight, hanging out. Don't forget to throw out something. I know the Bandit Racing League has closed up. Go ahead and give a shout out there for the BRRL League. I believe David Lakey is a part of out there. All right. Bunch of fans on the edge of their seats watching the Jeff Gordon machine. Reeling in the 42. Currently, Jamie McMurray wish he had the kind of record that Dalton Tucker does here in this league. There's currently Dalton Tucker on a roll. This guy cannot be stopped. It seems each and every week Dalton Tucker is the man to beat. Currently with 10 wins on the season. This guy's got 9 poles, 18 podiums. I mean, just almost sickening out there, I guess, when that guy is able to do it. All right, push the edge of net, saying Greg's birthday is Friday. You must be talking about RC. Dalton Tucker. He's been getting a little nervous here. That 24 machine starting to reel him in. Ooh, right there. Mistake by Dalton Tucker. Notice how he had to let off the gas there. That right front is smoked. He's doing a great job by fending him off, though. Vincent Arthur looks like he's unfortunately having the same problem here. Getting low in the gear there for Dalton Tucker through 3 and 4. They did not allow any shifting here. Normally you'll see out there in the next-gen cars on this track, some guys will bump down into 4th. Whoa, little mistake by Vincent Arthur. So you can tell we are definitely not running into fuel issues. We are having a definite 110% tire problem here, as it is worn off. Track starting to rubber up here. Now Vincent Arthur falls back by 0.7 of a second, now 0.75 of a second, and continuing to go backwards. Let's check in on Ryan Housden, as it looks like the battle for the lead has stalled out. And oddly enough, you want to start taking an eye, guys are starting to look at these stopwatches out here. Yep, well, we might be able to go about another 10 laps here on fuel, but now start watching those tires. You know, we've got Chase Durheim and John Skabnicki. Both these guys came down on 40 and 42. Currently, they are the only drivers still running in the under the 29.5 second range, which is currently a second faster than anybody else here on the field. So right now, this is huge for them if they can come down and maybe pit. But we'll see when these guys do come down into pit. There goes Chase Durheim. Looks like a little chin music there to Matthew George. As he moves on around, the 10th place driver out there. Currently, Chase Durheim does need to pass the Dalton Tucker one more solid time here to get back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, that's going to be easier said than done. Right now, pit road is lining up. I'm starting to see drivers starting to look down and talking on the radio a bunch here. Right now, it does look like pit road's starting to get excited. Right now, tires lining up on the side of pit road wall. We'll see him get ready to go here. Ryan Housden starting to reel in the number 20. And good job by Ryan Housden. Notice how he's starting to reel that Tony Stewart machine in. Dive into turn number 3. Here we go. Josh Conover working his way in as we sit on board here with the Casey Mears machine. As our first driver from the top 5 to come down pit road, Conover's had enough. I don't blame him. Fresh tires and fuel for him. Right now you can see Dalton Tucker's team up on the edge of the wall here. 42 Chevrolet ready to go. Housden knocks it off the wall. So Dalton Tucker deciding to continue to stay out. Like they're radioing up, telling him just go ahead and knock off a few more laps. He does not seem to be under fire with Vincent Arthur as Vincent Arthur is drawing the line. That's enough. Down he comes, so does Brian Jones, leaving only Dalton Tucker. From our top 3 to stay out there, Jacob Gladelick stays out. Oddly enough, normally Jacob Gladelick is one of those guys we either see coming down early or super late. If there's one driver we could have expected to change it up, Cody Reeder out there in the 19. Hate to see the driver from Emmenham Motorsports not making it here tonight. As you can see him radioing up at the middle of your screen there, they are signaling out that they want to come down pit road. The number 20 deciding not to. He wants to lead a lap here. Can he get out in front in time? Yes, he can. Jacob Gladelick will have a lead lap. There's 5 more bonus points for the number 20. Great job out there for Jacob Gladelick. Conover is getting ready to go here. He's already worked his way back out of pits. As Jacob Gladelick currently losing a position to Cody Reeder last week. As drops Gladelick down to 4th, but with the lack of Cody Reeder showing up this time, that means Jacob will be able to re-secure 3rd as long as his race pans out here tonight. Fantastic job here. Lap number 58 underway, all green flag though, as everybody's shuffling through, working their way down pit road. That's Ryan Housden working his way out. Josh Conover squeezing on around. Who else is coming out? Looks like Hunter Sr. working his way out of pit road. Jared Skinner not far behind. Looks like the 39 Chevrolet. There's 4 tires and fuel. Unfortunately, slow time for the 39. 18.73. Looks like they did have to pull that right front fender off. And he'll get back out there. Jacob Gladelick working his way on down. Who hasn't come down yet? Matthew George. But as I say that, he's already got her on heading down pit road now. So has Nick Ham. So, might make you question who's going to be put back into the lead here. Dalton Tucker with a lap 56 pit stop time, 16:65. Fantastic roll. He's going to go ahead and regain the lead, and he's going to have a substantial lead over top of Brian Jones. Jones currently making the pass around Chase Durheim, who came down on lap 40. Both these guys, of Brian Jones and Vincent Arthur, came in on lap 55. Jones' pit stop time was 0.3 of a second faster. That might be what helped get it done. So Vincent Arthur was actually the second pit box in the lane. Brian Jones was the 3rd. So they switch it around. Fast time out there by Hunter Sr. 14:08. Through turn 1 and 2, that is a blazing speed here. I'm interested to see what his lap time is here. 8. Holy cow. First time, only person on the track, a 28:93 by Hunter Sr. That is beyond the fastest time out there on the track. That is enough to take the pole position And currently, whatever right now Hunter Sr. has done, I'm hoping somebody radios up to that 40 out there that he's got to slow this thing down. His car may be capable of doing it here, but holy cow, did he fly? This guy's flying. 29.05. And I think some drivers who had pit after him, like Jacob Gladelick, who came down 2 laps later, isn't even touching that speed or that time by even half a second. Currently the number 20 Chevrolet, what a job he's been doing here. But Hunter Sr. out there showing maybe the Coors Light old school paint job is going to change it up here. What a race we've seen so far. 62 laps almost complete here with Dalton Tucker in the lead. He's got Brian Jones sitting less than a second behind him. Vincent Arthur is sitting third. Chase Durheim up 10 positions. Not bad for a dead last start back there in 14th. And Josh Conover coming down on lap number 53 is sitting in 5th. I do have to admit, I expect Josh Conover to catch Chase Durheim soon. If Chase Durheim wishes to continue on the same pit stop strategy that he has been doing, lap number 80 is when we'll see him come in. And well spread out is this field. Let's go ahead and find our guys out there. Take a look. Definitely well spread apart here. Right now, we've got our eyes here on the 4th place of Chase Durheim. As Josh Conover bringing up the back end here with Matthew George and Nick Ham. Currently, these two are going at it. Not for position, though. Whoop, Nick Ham getting a little loose here. Chat getting pretty quiet out there. Guys, don't forget to go ahead and say hello out there. Don't forget to say, whoa, Nick Ham scrubbing the wall. More than just a little red and white stripe there. He's earned just a hair more. As we look beyond the fence, in the no seating area any longer. Currently has Nick Ham sitting in 12th. Let's check in on Conover. We sit up top. Difficult race here so far. You see currently Conover is running down. Matthew George here currently. Now these are pretty much the closest drivers out here. Conover looking to see if he can get around his own teammate. Let's check back in on Hunter Sr. Senior's time has bled off a decent bit here. 29.65 as he reels in Wayne Eastwood. Checking the times last time around. Yep, that's about even. Ending with a 59. Senior ending with a 54. Top 11 drivers still under 30 seconds a lap. Still working hard. Chase Durheim in trouble. Here we go with Josh Conover to the inside. Currently we have lap number 69 underway. Good pass there. Notice how Nick Ham is ricocheting off the wall yet again. More than once we've seen that 23 car in some trouble. Changes out into the Edmund Fitzgerald Monte Carlo number 23 Chevrolet out there. Currently the 84 looking to the inside. Wow, did Wayne Eastwood cut him off. Ouch. Nick Ham almost takes a header straight into the wall. That's going to cause some damage. We'll see if he ends up getting called here for the black flag. I do notice that he's got that bumper starting to detach. That's going to cause a problem there. We'll see how long the 23 can hold out. Nick Ham did come in later on, lap number 57. Currently, I think the track starting to rubber up, is getting way too slick on him here. No, it's rather unfortunate there for Nick Ham. He was running a great first half of the, well, great first part of the race before his first pit stop. Currently, he's kind of been coming apart here. Hopefully, Nick Ham's able to straighten this thing up. Looks like he's way high through this turn. See how he does. Might burn up that right front on the way out. Yep, and he's going to have some trouble. I start following some of these other drivers. Low in, high middle, low out. Seems to be the successful line. Never used to be that way until the paving. And then the addition of the safer barrier walls. Definitely went ahead and shaved off another 3.5 feet off that wall. A normal concrete wall that is not very forgiving. I actually listen to drivers like Jeff Burton and Greg Biffle. And it actually mentioned when you get through Darlington and everyone earns the Darlington stripe, it is a lot easier to earn it here. One, the walls are encroached on the racing surface out there. And it's much nicer to nudge. You can nudge and keep racing rather than back in the day, you'd hit that concrete, it folded you. So a lot of those guys said they used to get a little bit of whiplash or a little neck hurting there at the end before the addition of the Hans devices. Of them smacking that wall out there. Here we are with Hunter Sr. battling for 7th position. Drops it below that dotted line out there. Chase Durham is playing chase with Hunter Sr. Hunter Sr. gets a good breakaway here. Chase Durham, I think, is unfortunately falling to the life of his tires. Currently, he is reaching his 35 lap mark currently. At 40 there on lap number 80. That would be if he wishes to exactly double his pit strategy. I would assume not. Start to smooth out just a little bit here. We are still looking at 200 laps to make it to the end here. I do appreciate you guys hanging out here with us at SimTraX Broadcasting. Let's go ahead and take a little look here while we've got the time and talk to us a little bit about the points here. I like seeing what's going on. Dalton Tucker currently leading our charge out there by 65.05 in the points. Brian Jones, the closest one there, with a 63.63. That's pretty daggone close, especially when Dalton Tucker is leading this race still. This guy's got a ton of laps led out there. Cody Reeder sitting in third, not showing up here tonight. That's going to be the backbreaker here for the number 3 car. Haven't seen Kevin Baumler or Dustin Kaleba in quite a while here, which is rather unfortunate. So those guys are well out of reach. Making up the distance to see if they can grab a hold of this track and see if they can make something of it before we head to Homestead for the final race of the season. You know, some guys that know that they're not going to have the opportunity here to win the championship out there. There is the possibility of guys who like to battle for certain positions, like third. Because Vincent Arthur's been racing very strong here in the later parts here of this season. Vincent Arthur currently sitting in that 5th spot. He's going to see if he can get close to Jacob Gladelick out there. And currently I know Josh Conover and Brady Motes have been going at it. So there it is, the beautiful Darlington Raceway. As you currently see, as we're taking a look here at the turn 3 and 4 there in the background. Now, these drivers getting around the track, having a great time here so far. And we'll definitely keep an eye on what exactly we've got going on out there. We hop on top here with the Goodyear blimp view, taking a look down at the number 42 there of Dalton Tucker, 1.8 seconds behind. That's where we're going to find Brian Jones. And then, yeah, I guess then if we put some lead shoes on, we find Vincent Arthur sitting back here in third, almost 5 seconds off the pace. But that's not all. We actually go farther back than that, 6.5 seconds to find Josh Conover. And another 1.3 beyond that to find Ryan Housden. That does separate our top 5 by almost 13 seconds. Now, 13 seconds barely marking half part of this track. Some of our best times have been around that 30-second mark. That is pretty, stretching out pretty far here. Currently, Matthew George is down a lap. I'm afraid Jared Skinner may fall here to Dalton Tucker rather soon. As we take a little look here, pit road's starting to get a little excited out there. John Skavnicki in the 43 has not come out of pit road here for quite some time. The 43 machine came down on lap number 65, across the line at 66, and has been parked in his pit stall for the last 8 minutes. Also, unfortunately, some bad news out there for Nick Ham. Nick Ham has yet to return either. So he's been down there for 2.5 minutes. Only driver to come down and pit and back out is going to be Chase Durheim. He went 40 laps on the first one, 43 on the second pit stop. 14.95, 4 tires and fuel. Chase Durheim going to be looking to knock down some solid times here. He'd like to go ahead and start chunking off a couple of these laps he's down now. As currently, yes, that is Chase Durheim chasing behind Vincent Arthur, our third place driver. So we'll see. Vincent Arthur, his last lap time with a 29.83. Yep, watch Durheim. Here we go. Tires snugging up there. Boy, that's a gutsy move outside line. I think the 24 might be okay with him passing, try to get a little bit of that draft. And he is gone. Fresh tires showing exactly what they do best. And away he goes. So lap number 40 is when he came down. Everybody else came down on the lap 50 and beyond. I believe next one up to be pretty close is going to be Josh Conover, who came down on lap number 53. 29 seconds flat there by Chase Durheim as you see him pulling away. Over a second faster here than Vincent Arthur that we're keeping an eye on here. Pretty quick that we're going to see Chase Durheim make the pass here. Currently this is for Brian Jones, not for position. Yeah, Brian Jones, just go ahead and let him on by. That boy is right now crazy fast. Go ahead and let him use up that rubber there. Hunter Sr. knew a little bit about that as he was insanely fast with a 28.93. Very, very close. That is still faster than the best time Dalton Tucker has put down of a 28.98. Hunter Sr. does hold the fastest time out there on the track. Yeah, I would expect to see probably a pretty leveled out time here by Chase Durheim to go ahead and chop off a few extra of these laps. Josh Conover is one of the guys you want to talk to here about the National Oval Racing Association. If you want to join up out here, I've got 14 drivers out on the track. 3 of them are currently sitting down pit road. That's leaving me with, boy, I think I've only got about, I think 9 drivers still on the lead lap here. And we haven't broken past lap 100 yet. Yikes. Now, Dalton Tucker definitely puts up a tough game here. It's hard to keep your head on straight. Not lose your mind when the 42 machine's just so fast. So, yes, Skinner, the last one on the lead lap. I guarantee you Jared Skinner is going to be in danger of going that lap down. So he's working his way on the backstretch. There's currently the 99 machine. But where I was going with that is give it a good idea or give it a good try out there. Talk to Josh Conover, one of the admins here of the league, as well as Brady Mose. I'm sure Vincent Arthur can help you as well. Dalton Tucker may be able to help lead you in the right direction. You guys can join up here with the National Oval Racing Association. I would highly recommend, not even a little bit, a lot, to make sure you get here and start trying out now, because come Daytona of next year, when we start getting into the Bud Shootout, when we start getting into the qualifiers of the Gatorade 125s, you've got to get in sooner than later because it is going to be slam-packed. There probably possibly be some cash prizes out there during the playoffs to help keep attendance high. I would love to see us somewhere around that 25 to 30 drivers here at the end of the race. Or at least at the end of the season here. I think that would definitely make this 275 laps definitely worthwhile. Give Dalton Tucker something to think about if he had a little pit road strategy problems out there. You know, if Hunter Sr. got banged around a little bit out there, Josh Conover had to try to see if he could stretch his fuel just a little bit. Instead, we were pretty separated out here. We're looking about 76 laps left to go here. What a tumble up this is. Normally you see races like this broken into stages. Not in 2004 you didn't. All right, currently we are taking a look at the number 40 here of Hunter Sr. once again. Taking a look there at Wayne Eastwood. Both these guys combined have gained 8 positions here on the night. So These guys have obviously been moving forward. Horrible qualifying time, as they definitely are showing their colors now. They can definitely hold their own out here on the racetrack in the crowd. Currently, Hunter Sr. is falling back just a little bit, though, as Wayne Eastwood is capitalizing on this track. All right, pit road starting to get pretty excited again. As we already see, the green light is out there at the beginning of pit road, showing that the pit window is open. They're getting ready to start rolling on down. Remember, Josh Conover will most likely be our first guy down, as he came down on lap number 53. He's already done more than that now. Okay, you see Josh Conover definitely trying to wheel this thing here. Ooh, got a nice run here on Matthew George. George currently sitting in that 10th position. Going to pass underneath is going to be Conover. Conover still to the outside. Good thing his spotter sees him there. The glare from the sun makes it almost impossible to see once you enter 3. Go. Conover starting to work on Matthew George just a little bit more. Currently not having any luck getting around that 25 machine. Matthew George definitely being kind of a thorn in the side here to Josh Conover, trying to pick up the pace here. Unfortunately, this is holding him up. Vincent Arthur's now separated by 10.5 seconds out front of Josh Conover here. If Conover is using any of this to his advantage, trying to follow behind the 25, maybe lengthen his fuel mileage. Yeah, if Josh Conover can make it just a little bit farther, if he was able to get another 2 to 3 laps just following behind him, might be some successful chance there. Again, Hunter Sr. starting to apply some pressure here to Wayne Eastwood. Eastwood might be in trouble there. You see the saw up to the top, back down to the bottom. And currently that's going to give Hunter Sr. a little bit of an opportunity to dive back in. Sr. All right, there we go. Throwing in the towel. Hunter Sr. working his way on down. Jacob Gladelick now entering the box. Conover still remaining out there on the track. Definitely proved me wrong there. Some of these other guys have said, all right, that's enough. Almost nudge a 31-second time out there by Hunter Sr. As a 30.33 there by Josh Conover. He remains out on the track. So take a look here at the number 8 Chevrolet. Brian Jones Ford, very close out there. I think Brian Jones is about to be in some trouble here. Tries to use Jacob Gladelick as a pivot. Gladelick going to hold right in the middle. Notice how he hasn't entered on the track. Here we go. Vincent Arthur to the inside. This is the shot for the number 2 spot. Vincent Arthur going in, getting the pass. Brian Jones letting the 24 car on around. Yeah, no sense in damaging that race car out there if we're already ending up in some trouble. Ryan Housden slicing on through. Late passes here. Here comes Conover taking the peek to the inside. Conover knows he's going to roll up the track. Doesn't want to make contact. Here comes Brian Jones. Good check up there by the 45, not to rear end the 24 as they enter into pit road at the dismal 45 miles an hour that it is. That's going to move Conover up to the number 2 spot. Housden sitting not very, very close, right behind him here. So of all the drivers that came down and pit in the lap 50s, Josh Conover still remains out there on the track. Currently, I'm showing Brian Jones with a black flag here. We'll keep an eye out there if the 45 does have to hold. Brian Jones with a 16.63. Dalton Tucker working his way on down. Will Ryan Housden stay out there on the track? No, he will not. Housden, speedy, slow down. Man, that was close. So Dalton Tucker will be entering his pit box here in very shortly. That's going to give an opportunity here for Vincent Arthur to hurry up. Right now, this will give him a chance to see if he can gain the lead. Right now, still in the pit box. Dalton Tucker. Tucker now on his way out. LJ Hernandez rooting on the 45. Currently, we're seeing Dalton Tucker work his way out. Vincent Arthur going to be pretty close. Currently rolling at 160 miles an hour through 1 and 2. Dalton Tucker trying to get up to speed. Currently, he's got an opportunity. Here comes Vincent Arthur. So Brian Jones might be out of the running here, as he was given a black flag coming down pit road. Pit stops are just about over. Nick Ham does return back to the track, though. After 7 minutes down on the pit road, he works his way back out. And he is currently down a ton of laps here, about 16, as he continues to roll around. Skinner now hitting under a 29-second lap, 28.96. Makes him one of 4 drivers that have broken underneath the 29-second mark. Lady in Black, the track that is too tough to tame out here, treating some people a lot better than others. Currently, Nick Gillis only made it 22 laps here tonight, as he is taking his dysfunctional car down into the pit road and into the garage. John Scavnicki made it 66 laps before his car was banged up too much beyond repair. He spent the last 24 minutes trying to put his back together. Currently, we see Dalton Tucker still in the lead, 3 seconds ahead of Vincent Arthur. And this race has been all Dalton Tucker. Some guys say Bristol is a tough track, wears their shoulders out. Martinsville wears their shoulders out. This track, this is going to test their mind here and their mentality at the longevity and the fatigue that they're going to feel. You know, Dalton Tucker can make a mistake here and go ahead and greet the wall a little harder than we saw Nick Ham doing it out there, or the 39 of Jared Skinner who we saw a little bit earlier. And that'll be when everybody wants to attack. So I think my only concern right now is what also lays with the 45 machine out there, Brian Jones. And how his pit stop went, I'm not quite sure what went wrong as he entered into pit road. We'll take a peek. No passes happening as of yet. Here's taking a chase here at Brian Jones. Yeah, I don't know if his pit speed entry was too fast right there at the line. All right, it looks like Atlantis out there, able to get the first-hand news there, saying speeding, but speeding wasn't... Are we talking speeding heading in? Because if so, it looked like he was about 4 to 5 miles an hour over. Once he got to that commitment line, I did see once he went to enter the box, he kind of cocked there a little bit and then did not accelerate. Right there. Looked like he had made a mistake. So entering pit lane is what gets him here. And unfortunately bites him. We compare him to the 24 machine. And notice right there is the line. So yeah, Brian Jones, super fast. He should have been slowed down just a little bit, especially right when we get to the cone. And I think that's what ends up biting him here. There's the commitment line. Yellow's the cone. Man, it looks like he's almost checked up, though, at that cone. Boy. Rough race here tonight here for Brian Jones. He definitely needed a win here tonight. And he was already fighting an uphill battle. A very strong driver of Dalton Tucker. Let's check in on Hunter Sr. here. Hunter Sr. currently sitting in 5th. He's been slowly and gradually working his way up to the front. Good pit stops have been working out well for him. Not bad out there, I think right now. Dalton Tucker pretty happy out there in the Chip Nazi Racing team. Seeing that the 39, the 40, and the 41 are joining him here tonight. All right, push the edge of net is saying, yep, he got a black flag clear and did a drive-through, so he didn't hold. I didn't realize you can choose not to stop to get the black flag clear. That must have been so you can ask for a review. So push the edge out there. Let me know. Give me a little inside information there. Normally speeding, I didn't think you had a choice. He'd have to come down and hold for about 30 seconds in the pit box. Me, I'd almost choose that rather than having to drive back down pit road again. Which, looking at timing here, cost him 45 seconds just to drive down the road. All right, LJ still looking pretty hopeful out there, hoping something can happen. Let's check in on Hunter Sr. Yep, let's get a little bit of a chase copter cam on this one. Get a little bit closer. Here we go. There's Hunter Sr. Currently, this is Chase Durham in 4th. Conover certainly sitting in 5th, and Hunter Sr. in 6th. Boy, Conover did make that quick slice there. He hit on lap 111. Got around Chase Durham, who is currently sitting on lap 83 tires. Great move there. So Hunter Sr. and Josh Conover able to make an easy pass there to get around Chase Durheim. Give it to Chase Durheim right now. That guy is able to pit almost 25 laps different and is still able to maintain a somewhat top 5 run. Especially when he's running a lap 128, almost to 130 there. 40 laps later on his tires. The strategy definitely working here for Chase Durheim. Not able to overcome Dalton Tucker, but Chase may be looking at possibly, depending on our pit strategies out there. And if we do not end up with a yellow flag, this guy could end up with a top 5. Currently seeing Wayne Eastwood currently sitting in 7th, getting ready to slice on around him there. Little block to the 84. 84 wants to see if he can slide to the inside, and he will. Whoop! Little dive bomb there by Wayne Eastwood. Checking there on the radio. Little apology there from the 84 Chevrolet as he moves his Chevrolet up into the 6th spot, making it all Chevrolets from there to the lead. Chase Durheim's Ford is the highest spot. Not bad as this race kind of slows down just a little bit. Everybody just kind of chopping away just a little bit here and there to go ahead and knock some time off. Starting to slowly tick the laps off. Slowly knocking them down. As we creep up on the halfway point of this race, do appreciate you guys joining us here at SimTraX Broadcasting, bringing you the National Oval Racing Association. Stella has decided to jump across the pond once again. I believe for her last vacation. Fortunately, or unfortunately, you'll be having me for tonight and over at Homestead for the season finale. Should be an excellent run there. I can't wait to see how Homestead. I think Dalton Tucker has pretty much got this in the bag. I'd say the drivers out here would like to have a lot more drivers out there on the track. I think even though laps down or not, just having extra drivers or lap traffic out there can definitely change it up. You guys have tuned in to Darlington the past couple of years here. William Byron has had a ton of success at Darlington. But unfortunately, sometimes lap traffic gets in the way and jams up that 24 car, slowing him way down, allowing drivers like Joey Logano to push his way to the win. Back here to Josh Conover. Conover now looking at the number 20 machine here of Jacob Gladelick. Currently the Home Depot car. Might be in a little bit of trouble here. Sitting about 0.3 of a second off here of the number 8. Here we are looking back. Hard on those brakes. See that car nosedive there. Jacob Gladelick, he's got something going on with the wheel here. See him heading down the straight. Notice that wheel starting to wobble back and forth. Left, right, left, right. Can't 100% say exactly what he's doing there. Take a look at Josh Conover. Pretty firm wheel to me there. It's pretty easy. Sometimes I've seen that happen when the driver decides to take the steering ratio, turn it way down. That means he's having to twitch and chase it the whole time. See, Conover's a lot smoother. Right. Over halfway through of this race. Alanis, appreciate you still hanging out here with us. Definitely know you're here. You definitely chatted up a bunch. Not sure if Jay's still hanging out there. No, Jay tunes into the broadcast out there while he races himself during this time. They push the edge, net. Something tells me that Nick Gillis out there. It might be a possibility of that. We'll see what changes up here. Let's take a look. Josh Conover still working on the 20. See Vincent Arthur starting to radio up just a little bit out there as he gets around Jared Skinner. Now well-separated track out there. Definitely not a whole lot going on. Guys, if you have any questions or anything, we'll see if we can answer them the best we can. Go ahead and post it out there in the chat. Right, taking a look out there in the chat currently. Nothing quite yet, but I do have some updates out there on the track. Nick Hammond, the 23 Chevrolet, has taken it back to the garage. 120 laps that car made it. And surprisingly enough, Chase Durheim came down on lap 136 and has turned it in. Wow. So the 99, haven't seen that guy in a long time. Had an interesting style tonight. Whoa. And it's checked away. Look at Josh Conover here. Conover taking the air off the rear of the 20. And then goes ahead and slides on around. So Gladelick going to fall down a position there. And Hunter Sr. making the pass. Little dive bomb there from the number 40. Hunter Sr.'s done that a couple times here tonight. Gone ahead and sliced underneath. That sends Gladelick back to the 5th position, so he's feeling pretty comfortable there. That's originally where he started this race. Currently, he's going to spend the next, let's check, on the next 10 to 15 laps trying to keep Wayne Eastwood behind him. Out there in the chat. All right, try and get me with a tongue twister out there. That's insane. Say, that might be a question for your chat GPT sort of stuff. What would it actually say? We have spent a good part here of this race watching these guys just kind of take a couple of laps off do want to kind of point out a little bit here that the National Oval Race Association is going to be pretty excited about what is going to be upcoming soon. A couple of the guys out there have been kind of poking around a little bit. And whether or not how team changes are going to happen. No, the Stewart-Haas team is going to be in some trouble next season. We'll see how Richard Childress Racing does. Wow. All right. Come on, Jacob Gladelick. Waiting to see if he can pick up the pace just a little bit here. Wayne Eastwood has been reeling him in here for the past couple of laps. And number 84 looks like he's got his number here. Trying to run down the 20 here of Jacob Gladelick. Tony Stewart machine still remains solid here to get lap number 152 started. Gladelick still remains in that 5th spot. Ouch. A little shot to the wall. This is going to give Eastwood a run. Inside line for the CarQuest machine. And it looks like Kyle Busch is going to go ahead and put the Tony Stewart car behind him. He's got the line. He's got the run. He's got the pass. So award that man that 5th spot. He's going to have it. Gone over now up to 3rd. Not bad there as we move up front. Currently 7 drivers still on the lead lap. Currently, I think Ryan Housden, his own teammate, is about to be in a little bit of hot water. As here comes Ryan Housden getting ready to cross the line. And here's Dalton Tucker, the leader. Leading just about every single lap here of this race. And 20 laps left to go here. We're looking at least a few more pit stops before the end. Right now, Dalton Tucker last came in on lap 112 for 4 tires and fuel. He's been pretty much flawless here all night. The first stint, he ended up in a little bit of trouble, but getting Vincent Arthur very, very close to him. But he has definitely not made that mistake again right now. Once again, we put the Home Depot car. Tony Stewart, number 20. The 41 starting to get very close. We've ridden along the Casey Mears Target number 41 Chevrolet once before here tonight. See if he had a little going on out there to see if he could pass Jacob Gladelick. Currently, Gladelick is able to get a solid turn there. And is now once again playing chase again. So talking to many of the drivers and even in real life drivers, Darlington being extremely tough out there, the best way they can describe it is you pick a set of turns, either 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, and you figure out which one to get good at, because you can't master them both. We have noticed that Dalton Tucker is finding 90% of his success here tonight. Looking at his stats between 3 and 4 here. So between 3 and 4, he is able to separate from these guys almost 1 to 2 tenths of a second per lap on fresh tires in the first 10 laps. And that is what is able to get his breakaway. But unfortunately, it does start to fizzle out closer to pit stop time. Vincent Arthur pit 2 laps earlier than Dalton Tucker and is not prosing to be fruitful here. 2.6 seconds behind is where we find Vincent Arthur trying to run down Dalton Tucker. As Vincent Arthur working around. Yep, should have been working around Matthew George out there. If I'm not mistaken, I think Matthew George and Vincent Arthur are teammates. Maybe they should be down there. In the Hendrick Motorsports, but they are not. Right. And the closer we get to the 2005 season and the choices they are considering making for the update that they're going to be doing, we'll keep you guys on dates, times, any changes that may affect your viewing or racing capabilities. We'll definitely try to keep you guys updated out there and let you know what you want to do, what you need to do to stay on task and ready to go. I think I would definitely love to race with these guys being very competitive out here. Do have a few slight temper flare-ups here every once in a while. But you may run into drivers like Mike Moultrie, that was a very fast driver out here. Eric Esri, who ended up being out here. I believe there was even Ed Adams. He was out there racing in the Ricky Rudd machine. Those guys were pretty tough out there, and I know Stella even knows about Martin Plute and Christopher Darling. Those two drivers actually were able to join for a decent chunk here of the season. They came out here, and I think after running the Max Graphics machine and the Beer Street Journal, they came out here and met their match. It was pretty tough racing for them. Hopefully we will run into Christopher Darling again. I believe it's been about 4 years. I keep seeing him pop in and out of some of these leagues that we broadcast here. So, interesting enough. Alrighty, we creep up very, very close here. 110 laps left to go. At 100 laps, just over 100 laps left here of the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Currently, if you consider it, without practice time, drivers have been racing around here for the last hour and a half in the simulator, although not in a race car out there on the track. In the simulator, still wearing these guys down. That force feedback is something to definitely you got to tolerate out there. Definitely very, very hard to work with. Battling that wheel all night. Taking a look back out there in the chat with the last question asking me how many chucks could a woodchuck. Looking to see, no one ever answers how long is he chucking. Is he given a time limit or just until he's done, or what are we talking? Alright, heading down pit road is going to be the Sterling Marlin car of Hunter Sr. and the Tony Stewart car of Jacob Galadalik. Currently, they are now sitting 6th and 7th before a couple of these drivers pass them out there on the track. Drivers like 39 of Jared Skinner, the number 8 here of Josh Conover. Almost going out there, making contact with the barrels. That was close. Ryan Housden out there in the 41 Chevrolet. He's working his way on down. 4 drivers out of this race. 10 of them still mobile. 10 drivers separated on a 1.33 mile track. 2 closest ones are sitting down pit road. I'm Nick Gillis and John Skabnicki. That's a joke. That's these 2 guys right here. Let's check in on Wayne Eastwood. He's working his way on down. Vincent Arthur is as well. The 24 Chevrolet. Ooh, looking at his time. Yep, he's okay. Boy, I was checking his speed out there. Looked like Vincent Arthur might have sped in. But it looks like he avoided it. I'm looking to see if they were going to black flag him there. But Vincent Arthur, I think, missed the mark. I think he's going to be okay. Definitely tough out there for the Rainbow Warriors if he did speed on the way in. Dalton Tucker, here he comes. Crossing the line, completing his 169th lap. Getting 170 underway. I think Brian Jones would love to know how to get one of his laps back here. Jones radioing up. He's going to need to pit here pretty soon. I think this will be the lap he does work his way on down. Hard brake check there by Brian Jones. No, he daggone sure does not want to come speeding down pit road again. A little insult to injury out there. Vincent Arthur up to speed, running down Dalton Tucker here if he can. 3.3, and that's going to do it. 3 1/4. I don't think he's going to be able to make up any more there. If he can, maybe down to 2.5 seconds, but then that's going to be it. I don't think he's got enough tire left to do it. Yeah, from our leader to our last podium spot is 19.2 seconds. That's crazy. I gotta give it to the National Racing Association. These guys have cleaned up this racing since the fumbles they had there at New Hampshire. Just about caution-free every single race. One of them, I think, was even caused there by Nick Gillis. I accidentally reversed out there on the track. Had some trouble out there. As we get a horrible shot here of the fence. Here they come. Amazing work by all the drivers out there and their pit crews. Getting them on and off. 4 tires and fuel. Getting a little laggy here. I've got to admit, guys, now when I talked a little bit about fatigue, not only are the pit crews getting a little fatigued out there, but also the drivers as well. Remember I said some of these pit stops were hitting at about that 14.5 second mark? There isn't a soul out here that did under 16.2 seconds down pit road. The longest one there by Matthew George took almost 19 seconds. So now another driver breaking into the 28-second range is going to be Brian Jones, 28.92. Once again, another blazing time out there. Currently, that'll now have him holding the time for the fastest lap on the track. Definitely still maintaining some sort of relevance out there is going to be Brian Jones. Currently is holding in 9th. As he went ahead and has gotten around Matthew George. George is going to need to drum up about 21.5 seconds to catch him here. Brian Jones, 29.02. Still faster than our leader. Yeah, just a little too late. One pit stop, one pit road fumble out there, and it costs him the race. So Brian Jones hoping for a caution out there. You'd almost need a few back-to-back out there. A few drivers are going to be battling to get back onto the lead lap since they will be on that inside line during the restart if we end up with another one. Currently, we've gone 177 laps under green flag here. at Darlington, which is really mind-boggling. I think if we were able to double our driver count, that would not be the case. Drivers like Ryan Housden trying to work around some of these drivers out there. Vincent Arthur, and notice he had some trouble out there at Sears Point. He had some trouble mix-up out there with Dustin Kleba. Kleba's had some trouble here. Definitely the most notable one out there at Pocono. Leading the race and getting into the back end of a lapped car. Sweet. All right. Decent race here so far. We're going to be cutting away here for just a moment as we go ahead and take a look at our sponsors here of the race, and we'll be right on back. Hang in there, guys. All right, everybody, breaking under that 90-lap mark here. We are currently seeing Dalton Tucker still leading this race as usual here, as he's done all season, looking to line himself up for yet another win. This guy just cannot be stopped. Doesn't seem like anything can get this guy out of shape or mess him up. Not even his own mistakes can slow this guy down. Currently, this will line him up for his 11th win here of the season, as he has under 100 laps to get this one in the bag. Dalton Tucker, great job here so far. Currently, that is the 7th place driver. He is now running up on here, very, very close to getting that spot. Certainly, Jacob Gladelick would love to keep that Haviland machine behind him here. gotten plenty of camera time there on Jacob Gladelick. Gladelick having an opportunity here. Dalton Tucker, a little bit of a slide. Some guys do complain of an aerodynamic bubble that these guys run into. They get almost close to the driver, and then it won't power through or go any faster out there. Does not seem to be the case here at Darlington. Currently, this is Dalton Tucker running up on the number 20. Gets a run and not able to slide underneath of him here. Gonna have to run him down for another lap. This is a pretty strong run here. I said Dalton Tucker's strongest turns are 3 and 4, and there's why. That's exactly what you see. Trail breaking deep into that turn is going to be the number 42. 20 trying to keep him blocked here. As all this blocking happens, this is allowing Vincent Arthur to try to reel him in. Right now, Vincent Arthur desperate to have somebody make a mistake, and here we go. Currently taking the air off the rear end of Jacob Gladelick. He gets out of shape. Heading to the bottom, but he saves it. So Dalton Tucker knows what to do. You don't even have to touch the driver, just get close to him. All right, Hunter Sr. going to try to scramble away as now Jacob Gladelick does go down a lap. Vincent Arthur is still trying to reel him in, 2.2 seconds behind. And at least another pit stop before we make it to the end. Lap 160 to 170 is when we saw these guys come down into pit road. It does mean we should be about 20 laps on fuel here. Stretching out to about the 230 mark, and then they will be able to run it to the end. Definitely a tough race, no matter what position you're in. Hunter Sr.'s battled all night here to gain 6, starting originally in 12th. So far, this has been a good night here for Hunter Sr. as well as Ryan Housden. Got to say, the Chip Nasi team has really come out here tonight. I'd say the only one a little farther behind is the normal Kyle Rochelle machine. The 39, originally driven out there by Scott Pruitt during this time. Early Jared Skinner is a lap down. Dalton Tucker went ahead and passed him. And he is currently sitting in 8th. I think Dalton Tucker would like to see all of his drivers, including him, make top 5. Sometimes the cards just don't fall that way. So Ryan Housden is holding the top 5 spot. We'll see if they can get Wayne Eastwood behind him here. There's a little scrub to the wall there by Hunter Sr. Dalton might radio up to him and let him know, hey, buddy, I saw that. Currently, Dalton Tucker starting to reel him in here. Hunter Sr. again is going to be taking a look out the rearview mirror at the number 42 machine. The Chip Nasi team definitely has an easy row of numbers, 39, 40, 41, and the 42 machine out there on the track. These two will get going at it here in just a moment. Hunter Sr. going to want to stay on the lead lap. If he can get around Hunter Sr. out there, that'll go ahead and put over half his team a lap down. Well, exactly half his team a lap down. If he goes up and passes Ryan Housden, that'll put over 3/4 of his team a lap down. And he can only blame himself. Dalton Tucker leading this one. There we go. Hunter Sr. going to go ahead and duck on out of the way and allow his teammate to go on through. Taking a look, kind of giving a nice little skim here. I noticed Brady Moats is not participating in tonight's race, but is down there with his teammates. Trying to help console Nick Gillis for his dead last finish here tonight, only making it 22 laps. That's 253 laps short of the finish line. Dalton Tucker putting second man down. Punter Sr. Next is Ryan Housden. He's trying to put on the chopping block here. Does not work in Vincent Arthur's favor when the lap traffic goes out and lets him on by. I think Vincent Arthur would love to see them crunch down and try to slow him down a bit here, but Dalton Tucker did say he was going to come to Darlington with a chip on his shoulder. Might not be able to participate at Homestead. And he needed to come out here and definitely put on a show and really command this race. And he has done just that. Led the most laps. Leading a lap that gives him 10 bonus points. Plus, he's lining himself up 75 laps away from a win. Now, I'm wondering if Brian Jones is kicking himself here that a speeding penalty down pit road may have just handed over the championship to Dalton Tucker. That was going to be pretty much a long shot out there. If we can figure out how to get Dalton Tucker or get 30 people to finish this season. And Dalton Tucker ends up finishing 31 or 30, 30th out there. They gave Brian Jones a heck of a chance to wind up and show up. But that not being the case here. All right. We will definitely see what exactly happens out there. I'm going to we'll see if we can grab a hold of one of our drivers. I know he kind of pokes around just a little bit out there, and we'll hopefully be able to grab a hold of the number one machine out there of Brady Moats. I said he was here a little bit earlier, and he was down there with his teammates, but he says there's possibly some implications out there for the championship. Brady Moats, for God's sakes, tell me what the heck is going on here.
Okay, so as we sit right now, Pat, currently Dalton leading. Dalton has secured the most laps led for that points bonus. He's actually led a lap, obviously, so that's another points bonus. If Dalton wins tonight and Brian finishes 8th or worse, Dalton Tucker will be our first Gen 4 Cup Series champion.
8th or worse?
Yes, Brian Jones has to finish 8th or worse right now, and if he does that and Dalton wins, then Dalton Tucker will be our champion before we get to Homestead.
Oh, no.
So, but, we'll all be there ripping the fence, so I'm super, super excited for that. Hate I missed tonight. Hate I had to hit my CC mark, but, I mean, let's be for real. We all expected the process to eventually get to that point, So, but I'll be super excited to rip the fence. That's literally like probably my favorite track on the sim oval-wise next week. So we'll be Josh and all the guys who love to rip the fence. All of us dirt guys will be excited to let her hang out, up there around the rim.
Man, well, when we talk about Brian Jones having to make this, I mean, would you think a 275 lap race here in Darlington has the possibility of going caution-free?
I mean, I'd say it has a testament to how good and clean everybody is in this league. Obviously, hope we can bring some more guys in next year for our adventures and stuff we're going to have take place. And hopefully they'll keep the stuff just as clean and green. But this is pretty impressive out of this group to have I think it's about to be our first, I don't know, Josh might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but this, as far as I can remember, this would be our first caution-free race at Darlington. Absolutely. Even if you don't count the stage cautions, I'm pretty sure this would be our first green checkered.
It would be actually, one, insane to me. Two, this being a crown jewel. And you guys have been so clean since New Hampshire. New Hampshire was an absolute brawl out there. I mean, I think people were ready to fist fight. And now we come in later in the season. I mean, is it lack of drivers? Is it, did admins, you guys kind of drop the hammer, or what happened?
No, nothing really dropped the hammer. Wasn't really nothing said about it, honestly. I feel like all in all throughout the season, for our typical standards these past few years, as you know, Pat, iRacing's evolved, and basically like where everybody's racecraft and everything stands. I feel like all in all this season, collectively, it has been clean. But yes, to give us less credit, car count here at the end has been struggling. But like we're saying, you know, I mean, we're only one race away from the off season. All of us collectively as a team, myself, Josh, Nick, Chris, and all of us collectively together. Some of the guys in the league even volunteered to help. Gonna hit the ground hard running, trying to get stuff together, and you know, gonna go ahead and throw this out here on permission. But a little teaser, something is in the works. So for another night as well, to give guys more options and more guys to come. But since the other stuff for the other night is in the works, I mean, that's not gonna take anything away at all. First thing we're gonna do before we even think about that is hit the ground running hard for this league this night on Monday night. Get back up our account and everything like that, and bring some good guys in. We don't want to just bring in, you know, Joe Blow off the street and he comes out here and wrecks the deal or whatever and drives everything. So we want to bring in here and just be able to keep that good core group of guys that we have now, and then expand it a little bit, and then hopefully get some more core group of guys, and so on and so forth. So once we secure that, then we can focus on all the other fun stuff. So first and foremost, our first priority is this league, obviously, and then our next priority will be what we have going next.
Wow. All right, so there's a little bit of a leak, because I was going to ask you, come on, give me something, because I've never been 100% left in the dark, but you guys are doing a heck of a job not letting me know anything. I originally started with you guys in the Next Gen League. I know drivers like Jacob Malone were out there, and definitely taught you guys a few things that, you know, kind of how to super speedway race, how to chop the edges of these racetracks off. And I ain't seen that boy in a long, long time, you know. We moved to the Gen 4 cars. I don't think it's quite his cup of tea, but I didn't know if that might be something you guys have considered revisiting.
Yeah, we'll see what we got. We got something that works. I don't know if Josh released the teaser yet, but teaser probably incoming if it has not been dropped yet on Facebook. Yeah, I mean, we got something in the works. Gonna be pretty exciting. Something definitely radically different from what NORA's done in the past. But like I said, we're not worried about that Tuesday stuff right now. Once we iron out all the details and everything, we got plenty of time to iron that out in a few months. So to iron all that out. Like I said, first and foremost, obviously our first priority is with NORA, and we want to make sure that everything's right here first before we move on and try and do something else, you know. But not actually, I'm sorry, wrong wording. Not necessarily move on, but blossom and create more avenues to bring other alternate drivers in. But like I said, I mean, we have to build here first before we can even do anything else. We got to get some guys in and everything like that, get everybody back excited for 2005 to roll around. As I am, and as all the rest of our admins are, we're really excited for 2005 and everything that comes in store, and all the changes that will come in the votes and stuff. So for the team owners, that's going to be pretty exciting. So, and as soon as we have that information too, we'll release that out, hopefully in December. So be looking out on our Facebook and everything for that.
Cool. So I even got a little more of a leak. It's going to be something that's happening on Tuesday. Nah.
Yeah, we will, like I said, it's probably going to be a little bit before we iron that out. We want to focus on this stuff first, man, because as this is going on and stuff like that, it's already our functioning series right now. A lot of guys love it. We've got a core group of guys here, including myself, Josh, and others. So we want to just focus on this first and get it right, get it going, and get it back to, well, not necessarily back to where it was, just build it back up again. You know, you just get to the end of the year, lose guys. It just happens when the championship happens, the way it rolls. So we'll build this back up, get everything ready for it, and then start worrying about that stuff later on after we fix this.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't blame you. I've seen a lot of leagues try to expand too fast, try to do too much, and then all of a sudden you lose your core guys. You know, you have a solid 10 to 15 guys. You know, we're going to be here every single week. I would have included you. I think this is your first race you've missed this season.
Yeah, no, actually, I think it's my second. But yeah,
bro.
But yeah, I don't. I mean, I literally just, we just got to build off this. It's not necessarily disappointing, just a little bit expected, but not as much. But like I said, we're all going to work our butts off, recruit very, very good this off season, everything like that. Push stuff on Facebook, do all the avenues we know how to. Josh and Nick, really good experience at doing this, and they've been doing this for a long time. So, and other guys in here as well has been helping us in here for a long time. So, we'll be able to take care of it and be able to get back rolling, and then also be able to get our stuff rolling on Tuesday, and probably off to a pretty hot start, I feel like, for races. So, but 2005 in the sim world for our Monday nights here.
Wow. All right. Well, hopefully we all are able to drum up some cash prizes or something like that to definitely hold these guys in here for the playoffs. I know these guys got sponsors they got to race for. You know, they got to go ahead and get something on the car. So Brady Moats, awesome, buddy. I appreciate you kind of joining me here in the booth and let me know what's going on kind of on the inside. You know, everybody kind of notices, you know, kind of sees what the league's doing, how you guys are racing out there, but no one ever knows really how the inner workings are actually happening out there, and what work actually happens on in the background.
Yeah, if anybody that's watching too is interested in joining the league or whatever, feel free to get in touch with myself or Josh or whatever through Facebook or however you want. We got a bunch of guys coming in already for next year too. Just excited. Just the points right now. It doesn't take more than one race to go. So next year we got a good group of guys coming in that we can already blossom off of. So, but if anybody out there in the chat's interested or whatever to come race with us, and they aren't right now at the moment, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll definitely love to have you on.
Sweet. That and the amount of team changes, that's going to be fun. All right, Brady,
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. All right, everybody, that's going to get our little piece there from Brady Moats and a little insider action there. Remember, he said Brian Jones has to finish higher than 8th place. Currently, he is in 8th. Looking at Jared Skinner directly in front of him here. And we are breaking very, very close to only 50 laps left to go. And Brian Jones is going to be biting his nails here, as that speeding penalty has got to be haunting him. I don't know how Atlantis is doing it. Might be a good idea to hide in a room and lock the door for a little bit. That 45 machine, I don't see how he's able to shake that off. That would be bugging me all the way through this race. Here he comes, taking a look to the inside here of Jared Skinner. That now moves him up to 6th. As currently Ryan Housden has come down into pit road. Josh Conover is as well. After pit stops happen here, we'll see where everybody tilts back and forth. I expect Brian Jones to kind of push a little farther past, seeing that he came in on lap 169. Him actually staying out for so long is quite an impressive feat here. Brian Jones is wanting to make sure he can keep his pace. Dalton Tucker's last lap was 30 seconds flat. And Brian Jones currently hitting a 30.72. Across the line, 30.40. Heck of a lot better. But he is still going to be fighting some guys on fresh tires. Brian Jones is going to have to maintain those tires and try to get a couple passes right toward the end here. Boy, yeah, right now that is pretty nerve-wracking here, I've got to admit. When we take a look here at this race, here comes Brian Jones again. Got to hit those brakes. Boy, that thing did not want to stop. Brian Jones nervous now. He's heading down pit road. Taking a look. No black flag here for Brian Jones. Vincent Arthur already heading on down. As he will be shortly behind him. Currently sitting about 9 seconds back here on pit road. Brian Jones into the box. Right side's on. He'll be working his way out. Dalton Tucker now coming down pit road. All right, Brian Jones is down, and out he goes. How does he not burn off the tires here, trying to stay ahead? Currently, Brian Jones is now 8th. He's got to stay in front of Jared Skinner here. And Skinner getting ready to pass him. Jones trying to get up to speed. Nice block. Yep, you can't tell me that wasn't planned here. Currently, Josh Conover is hitting third. Brian Jones is in eighth. He currently needs to come up with 7.5 seconds to catch Hunter Sr. And Hunter Sr. is doing a lot of blinking here. So there is a possibility that Brian Jones might have the opportunity. LJ and Atlantis have got to be on the edge this time. Less than 50 laps left to go. Josh Conover ricocheting off the wall and earns another stripe. So a few of these drivers, other than Dalton Tucker, is learning that this track is too tough to tame. Extremely difficult here. Notice how Vincent Arthur came down one lap earlier than Dalton Tucker. Holy cow, Wayne Eastwood, great job holding on to it. We're extremely close to getting our first caution. Wayne Eastwood breaks loose. Under fire is going to be Dalton Tucker. I would probably go ahead and feel pretty safe seeing this is the first time here tonight. Dalton Tucker losing a little bit of air off the rear spoiler here. Remember, Brian Jones needs to be above 8th, but that would be also if Dalton Tucker does not win this race, or if he does win the race. But if Vincent Arthur wins the race, that's going to change it up. That might give Brian Jones definitely the wave through here. Let's take a look. Vincent Arthur has taken over the lead. Lap number 230 is going to go to the Jeff Gordon DuPont Chevrolet. And Dalton Tucker falling backwards now. Never check out Dalton Tucker, though. He's back by 0.3 of a second. That 42 machine has had tons of time in the front. Out there in the clean air, but how is he going to race in the dirty air? Lap 231 beginning now. Currently our top 5 sit like this. Vincent Arthur, Dalton Tucker, Josh Conover, Ryan Housden. And then we tumble on backwards where we find Wayne Eastwood as our 5th place driver a lap down. Jacob Gladelick sits 6th. The blinking Hunter Sr. sitting 7th. 6.2 seconds behind is Brian Jones in 8th, who's trying to skim away from elimination here. Jared Skinner is in 9th, Matthew George 10th. And our guys who have taken it home, Chase Durheim on lap 136 in the 98-99 Roundup car. Finishing 11th, Nick Ham in the Edmund Fitzgerald 23 Chevrolet, finishing 12th. John Skabnicki in the 43 Petty car. On lap number 66 finished out, and Nick Geilis out there in the number 12 Mobil 1 machine. Finishing 14th on lap 22. Matthew George running a pretty clean race here so far tonight. Dalton Tucker is staying within striking distance here of our new leader, Vincent Arthur. Arthur now running up. I believe that should be the 41 here of Ryan Housden. Oddly enough, unfortunately, Vincent Arthur is running up on teammates here of Dalton Tucker. So we'll see how this fares. Apparently, Vincent Arthur would like to be able to use a little bit of that draft from the 41 as the 41 starts creeping into our view. Vincent Arthur doing a great job here. I'm really working hard. Late into this run, we sit on the top here of the 41 Chevrolet of Ryan Housden. Trying to see if he can finish this race on the lead lap. Everybody holding their breath right now as the battle for the lead. Still sits here. Ryan Housden having a little bit of trouble. He scrubs the wall. Here comes Vincent Arthur taking a look here to the inside. Ryan Housden to make a little block there. Heating up that right front tires, Vincent Arthur. Arthur to the inside. Oh, contact! Vincent Arthur putting the 41 into the wall. The 84 hard into the wall. Still no caution here tonight. Boy, that heated up pretty nasty out there. Wayne Eastwood has now been able to pass Ryan Housden out there. As it looked like there was contact from Vincent Arthur. And the number 41 out there, Ryan Housden. Remember, Ryan Housden in the 41 is teammates with the 42 of Dalton Tucker. Both these guys have been given penalties here throughout the year. Fortunately, not amongst each other. Ryan Jones, we keep tabs on him, is less than 3.5 seconds from Hunter Sr., another Dalton Tucker teammate. Last part here of this race starting to get pretty exciting here. We creep up very close. Final parts of this race. 241 complete. Less than a quarter of a second behind sits Dalton Tucker. Tucker now starting to turn up the heat. He's been sitting back about 3 to 4 tenths. Now he closes the gap by another tenth. And sits there. Boy, that has got to be absolutely nerve-wracking here for Vincent Arthur. He knows how bad Dalton Tucker wants to just put this one away. I would say safely that this puts, if Dalton Tucker's down one position, that buys Brian Jones another position. So he can finish 8th and still possibly make it through. Landis right now has probably chewed the last nail off, as we're getting super close. Brian Jones definitely in the zone there, trying to run down Hunter Sr., who's currently sitting 7th. Right now, these are our top 2 points drivers. Brian Jones, who's now sitting 2.2 seconds off. You see currently Hunter Sr. passing our screen now. Here's Brian Jones, 2.15, scraping off another tenth. Now to 2 seconds, Hunter Sr. falling off. Brian Jones doing an awesome job at saving tire here. Hunter Sr. makes a mistake, 1 second behind. And right now, Brian Jones is 9/10 of a second from saving his playoff season here. Fortunately, he still has 30 laps to go. Scrubbed to the wall by Hunter Sr. Crazy run here tonight. Right now, Brian Jones trying to check all the boxes. Does not want to burn off his tires trying to catch him here. Keep an eye moving back to Dalton Tucker and Vincent Arthur. These are going to be our 2 big battles here of the night. thing we know for certain. Time split in half. Currently, Vincent Arthur sitting 4/10 of a second out in front. And Hunter Sr. sitting 3/10 of a second. Now a quarter of a second. Here it comes. Brian Jones taking a look at Hunter Sr. for the 7th position. Taking a look here to the inside. 45 is going to dive it on into 3. Right in front of the Earnhardt Towers. He gets that right front fender in there. Currently Brian Jones trying to make the pass here. Here's the gun to the line. He currently has it. Heading into turn number 1. Full clear by Brian Jones. And he's up. Sure, Hunter Sr. currently radioing up there to the front right now to Dalton Tucker. Letting him know pass has been made. Checking in on Ryan Housden. Housden now looking to see if Gladelick is going to pass him. Gladelick coming in on lap 218. Housden came down on 220. So Housden should have the tire advantage here, blocking. Yeah, trying to come up with a little extra speed was Hunter Sr. there. He was trying to break under a quarter of a second here to the 45 and does not succeed. Brian Jones out to a comfortable 6/10 of a second lead. 26 laps left to go. Brian Jones has finally driven his way back into his playoff run. Great job here so far. We're going to step away for just a moment as the 20 machine getting into the back of the 41. Ryan Housden with a ton of damage. Nothing there by the 20 other than Gladelick did get into the back of him. A little insult to injury there. Would pitch this out there that Brian Jones has the opportunity of possibly passing Ryan Housden as far off pace as he is. Now about 3/10 of a second slower. All right, remember what I said about guys starting to fatigue out there on the track? Fumbles happening all around. Brian Jones now within 3 seconds of Ryan Housden. Hunter Sr. sits back about 1.4 seconds, so that does leave our 2 closest drivers are our leaders. Currently Vincent Arthur and Dalton Tucker. A wild race here so far, and guys have been really making a heck of a job of this. Of this track, this one definitely being a tough run. No one can seem to come up with the winning strategy here, but currently Vincent Arthur figured something out pitting just a little bit earlier, and it pays off. Oddly enough, when we look back at the last time we visited Darlington, back in the 5th race here of the year, you know Dustin Kleba ended up winning that race, only leading 30 of those laps. Vincent Arthur actually finished in 3rd, leading only 9. Now you could probably guess who the heck ended up winning, who led the most. And leading the most was Dalton Tucker. He led 125. Currently, Vincent Arthur having a horrible blink there. He drops off the face of the map there and comes back 3/4 of a second ahead of Dalton Tucker. So it looks like Dalton Tucker 18 laps away from being the bridesmaid again. And Vincent Arthur able to flip the script. Josh Conover said he couldn't figure out this track either. He last finished in 5th last time we were here. So fantastic job. I had popped back there for just a little bit. Brian Jones had made the pass here on Ryan Housden. Brian Jones is now up to 6th. So this is fantastic. Now Brian Jones well within range. After Ryan Housden made a contact out there with the wall. I don't think it was a little assisted out there. As Housden goes ahead and lets Hunter Sr. on around. I think currently the 41 knows he is heavily damaged. We try to get a little peek in there. Number 41 doesn't look that bad. But definitely that fold is causing him some steering issues. That's the problem. It's not just body panels. And that fender that's having some trouble. Has also begun to affect his steering. Josh Conover setting 3rd. Yeah, I think back in March is when this race happened. I think only 8 drivers finished on the lead lap there. Currently, Josh Conover almost in danger of going a lap down here. As Vincent Arthur's starting to reel him in. No way. No way. Brian Jones, this is for 5th. No way. Awesome job. All right, everybody out there, Brian Jones fans, you got to be pretty impressed at this Expel machine. Although a lap down, has been able to battle back through his own lapped friends out there and lapped racers up to the 5th position. He could really only gain one more. 11.2 seconds away is Wayne Eastwood. But I would say Brian Jones is well underneath that 8th position that we were calling for. It's a wild ride here that we've seen through this. Awesome job. Absolutely mind-blowing here. So I would love to know if there is a possibility of maybe grabbing a hold of maybe a spotter here. Cody, are you available?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Hey, buddy, you out there spotting for Brian Jones?
Not really, more coaching, but I'm riding with him, yeah.
Fantastic. All right, well, looks like he's in a pretty secure spot now. From Brady Moats, if Dalton Tucker had won this race, that Brian Jones needed to place higher than 8th. Brian Jones just made the pass for 5th. What can you guys equate this to? I mean, just sheer luck, or how did this guy pull this off?
There's been a lot of 20 car and 41 car shenanigans a little bit. They were kind of running all over each other, and because of that, there's a lot of damage vehicles now out there, and he just has kept it clean at least. So, yeah, he was catching those guys 7/10, 8/10 a lap, and finally got to him. So, yeah, quite the recovery. We'll see how it goes here at the end.
Yeah, he's got to be definitely kind of, you know, biting his nails there. And we were nervous that he wasn't going to make it. You know, he was fractions of a second of never seeing the end here of the playoffs. Unfortunately, you were not able to join here either. Now, talk about a little bit of this race. You know, how critical are those right side tires out there?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I went to join the race and came downstairs, my water heater broken all over the floor, flooding my basement. It was great. But got that under wraps and figured I'd join you guys. But yeah, it's important. I mean, it looks like these guys are fighting tight, which it's typically a loose condition at Darlington. So honestly, I'm jealous because it looks like a lot of fun out there. But I'm watching this pass in the 40 car. But yeah, so it's pretty treacherous. Lap times are all over the place just based off who's saving.
Yeah, very difficult. I knew there was some contact between the 24 car and the 41, which I thought might have put Ryan Housden a little off pace there, causing even more ruckus out there between the 20 and the 41, you know, and that was allowing Brian Jones to catch on up. But, man, hate to see you not out here. You finished 4th last time you came out to this track, but we'll go ahead and let you wrap it up out there with Brian Jones there, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
All right, appreciate it, buddy. All right, everybody, that's Cody Reeder we got a hold of out there. Gotta love it. Unable to get out there and race. What a bummer. All right, here we are, Dalton Tucker, and this is holding him up. Now we're over 2 seconds. Vincent Arthur, 5 laps away from the win here. Gotta say, as much crazy stuff that's happening out there on the track. And we are still green flag. This is crazy. We had some tangle ups out there. We had a couple drivers bounce some ricochet off the wall. We saw Nick Gillis getting out of shape. That got him out of here. I mean, just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Wayne Eastwood got out of shape. All right, less than 5 miles left to go for Vincent Arthur to win this one. Here we go with Housden in the 20. Cody Reeder was saying it was between the two of them is the reason for some of their success. And it definitely worked for Brian Jones. Top 5 finish. As the 20 seems to be blocking the 39 there. I'm quite sure what's up with that. White flag is out. What happens, happens. Let's see if these two go at it. Vincent Arthur, easy lead here. All right, I was going to go ahead and let those guys finish that one off. Josh Conover almost going a lap down here, though, but that is going to bring Vincent Arthur here to the win. Dalton Tucker, second place finish. Awesome job here. And we are looking for Josh Conover out there to go ahead and finish here in third. Here he comes. Pretty impressive when you can lead that far. Definitely a stretch. Top 3, Vincent Arthur, Dalton Tucker, Josh Conover. Awesome job. All right, we'll go ahead and get your unofficial results up here. As Vince and Arthur able to pull a rabbit out of his hat on this one. Awesome job. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Appreciate you guys joining us here at SimTraX Broadcasting. Definitely bringing you the best here in iRacing. Don't forget you can join us here all time if you guys are ever considering it. Don't forget to come out here and join these guys. They are ready to go and ready to take over and bring you guys out there on the tracks. That way you can race with them. All right, guys, hang in there for just a moment. I'm going to, of course, grab our top 3 drivers, and we'll bring them up here and kind of talk to them about how this race ended up finishing off. Hang in there. All right, everybody, we are finally catching up with our third place finisher here, Josh Conover. How's it feel to finish on the lead lap here tonight?
Seeing how that went, I guess that's a win in its own aspect, right?
We went caution-free for 275 laps here at Darlington. Pretty mind-blowing. I even talked to Brady Motes about it, and he said it was quite impressive here. The racecraft that you guys have and the way things are going here recently, this has really turned around since New Hampshire.
Yeah, Nick and I were talking. This is actually the second just crown jewel specific that's gone green and checkered. I know early in the year we had the Coke 600 go green and checkered, so it's nice to have your crown jewels kind of show up both, distance wise and, I guess less cautions wise too.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, last time you were here, you finished 5th. Now you seem to figure out the track a little bit earlier this time, and then you finished 3rd. Is there a possibility of you coming away with a win here?
Nah, I've kind of looked into this one again. Kind of like last week with Vinny speeding on pit road. Brian kind of handed me this one by speeding here tonight. And then I would argue if Kleba or Reeder were here, they probably would have had me. So I probably would have been around 5th or 6th again, but we'll take it. There's not many of these left this year for 2004s, we'll call it. So to come away with back-to-back thirds heading into Homestead, can't complain.
Yeah, no kidding. And from anybody out there, top 5 is still good. We got guys here in the playoffs who haven't won a race yet that are still in competition out there to really do something. So Brady was telling me it was pretty close out there for Dalton Tucker. If he had won the race, then that means Brian Jones needed to make it above 8th place. Well, fortunately, Brian Jones finished 5th. Dalton Tucker did not win the race. This is going to be a pretty close race if Dalton Tucker does not show up.
Yeah, I think you were able to read all that, but there were some conversations going on this week about the date and all that nonsense, and I don't think anybody really even actually gave an answer one way or the other, so I'm not even totally sure. I'm just going to say it's going to go. Yeah, I'm just going to say it's going to go off as planned, and I don't know. He said he could at least start in park, so I'm assuming that's what's going to come of that. But yeah, I can actually tell you, since there was no cautions, the gap is 167.
Ugh.
So, almost, but yeah, we would need
30
a
drivers.
pretty hefty field.
Sweet. So if you really hate Dalton Tucker, you're going to do a lot of recruiting this week.
Yeah, because Brian would need a perfect night just to get 190, and then Dalton would need, what, 30-some points? So you'd almost probably need a full field at that point.
Yeah. Wow. So Dalton Tucker might still have this one in the bag. Bummer.
Well, I mean, even Brian doesn't have as many wins, but him, Dalton, Brian, Vinny, I think Dustin actually has one win, but when he's here, he's always stout. You know, between them four, you kind of had a feeling it's going to be one of them. I've said it before, they kind of rarely have issues, and if they do, it's minimal. I'll say more so Dalton, Vinny, and Brian. I mean, Brian is bed tonight and still managed to get back to 5th. So, you know, it's all about trying to capitalize when they make mistakes or get involved and have a mistake, but it's hard to do when these guys are as good as they are.
Yeah. Heck of a night here tonight, and you were able to battle up a little bit. Qualified 4th, finished 3rd. Not bad. Go ahead and give me a shout-out here, Josh.
You, as always, man, you know, I appreciate you and all you do for us. And I know this one probably had to be boring like the Coke 600, but, you know, can't complain when you can go, 275 green to checkered, and are probably one of the tougher places to do it just with how loose it is on the exit. But hopefully it looked cool with the day to night transition. I kind of fudged up the start time a little bit. I think it was supposed to be like 1 o'clock, but real life was obviously a 4-hour race, and we don't have time to run 4 hours. So moved it back an hour and a half or so we can get it. And I think it looked good on track. Hopefully it looked good in the booth. And yeah, everybody that ran, we're down to 14, but I know Jared ran his first race with us tonight. Hopefully he likes it and sticks around. And hard work starts after next week.
Yeah. I would say Jared learned a little bit about blocking tonight, and he's going to be he might want to fight the number 20 out there next time he sees him. We'll see how that goes. All right, Josh, congratulations, man. We'll see you at Homestead.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for Josh. And moving on to Dalton Tucker. Dalton, you have found yourself once again here as the bridesmaid. Man, back all the way in March, you ended up leading 125 laps of that race, finishing 2nd there as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a crappy thing how lappers race the leader and not anybody else, but it is what it is.
Oh, you don't tell me that 99 got you in your way out there. That guy was a bolt of lightning.
Nah, it's just, I know nobody did anything on purpose. It just, anything that could have happened was right in front of me, it seemed like every time. And when you give up seconds or half seconds a lap to someone like Vinny, he's going to capitalize. And enough of them happened, and he eventually got back up to me. And once he got around me, there ain't nothing I could have done then.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. You did hold about a 2-second lead out there. Although, you know, you did have the lead for pretty much 90% here of the night. You're right. A lot of things were happening in front of you. We saw the number 20 ricochet off the wall. I think the 84 Wayne Eastwood, but we were caution-free the entire time. I mean, if a caution had come out, would have anything had changed tonight?
I think it would have been a lot easier to hold the lead. It just every time I got to a lapper, I would lose. If it was a clean pass, I'd lose almost half a second every time. And I don't know exactly how it was behind me, but it seemed like they were getting over for Vinny, because obviously that's not for a key position for him. So for me, they're trying to stay on the lead lap there, which completely understandable, because they're hoping for a caution. Just honestly, like I was ready for a break at probably midway, and I get it. You want to stay on the lead lap. It is one of the things where the leader's going to have to fight to try to get around people. And I don't know. Me and Vinny were very close. At the end, I backed it off just to kind of finish the race. And I mean, hats off to Vinny. He did exactly what he needed to win. Capitalized when I had to check up, and got beside me, and that was all she wrote at that point.
Man, tough race here. You know, we're kind of crunching down on some of the numbers. Brady hopped in the booth here with me a little bit and kind of gave me a little bit of an insight. Currently, you lead, I believe, by 161 points. Now, it's going to be pretty close out there over top of Brian Jones. He would almost need a perfect night. We need 30 drivers and everything like that. But it almost seems you might have this championship here in the bag.
Yeah, I would say it's about as safe can get. It kind of sucks because of what I've got to do to get it. I think that's kind of crappy to kind of have to race on a Thanksgiving week like that, but it is what it is. It's up to them.
Yeah, I think the way this league runs, man, it's all up to ownership votes. Most of us don't have a say. We just go for it. All right, Dalton, hopefully you can show up for Homestead and do your thing, man. You definitely been doing it all year. So close to your 11th win, but not quite yet. Maybe it'll be next run. Go and give me a shout-out here, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know how well you know bowling, but there's a league where you can, if you get 9 pins, they count it as a strike. And man, if they could have counted all these seconds as a win, that would change everything. That'd be pretty sweet, because it seems like I can lock down them seconds. But I don't know. It's just another one of them races, and look forward to Homestead. As always, shout out to the guys that showed up. We had a new guy on the team that showed up tonight, and Jared. Glad he was able to show up and race and run the whole thing. Hopefully he sticks around for next week and potentially next season. So good to have him. Shout out to everybody that did show up. No cautions, and Darlington, it's a race in itself just to tame the track. And hats off to everybody for doing that and making it as clean could be for this type of race. And I appreciate you in the booth. I know you're by yourself this week, so hats off to you. Can't wait to go back and watch it.
Cool. All right, Dalton. Appreciate you, buddy. And we kind of you poke at that same thing there, buddy. Yeah, it's Darlington, man. It's hard to, like you said, it's a race in itself, man. It's hard to find any room to even make a pass, no matter what car you're in. Even if we're in the trucks or the next gens, man, it's so difficult. So different on the tires, so it's just all around a very, very hard track to overcome. See you at Homestead, buddy.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, that's going to do it. Dalton Tucker finishing in that second spot. That does mean our number 24 car of Vincent Arthur might have had all the chips stacked against him here tonight, but he was able to come away with the win. And I would say we weren't rooting for Vincent Arthur to come away with the win, with Dalton Tucker having over a 3-second lead over top of the DuPont Chevrolet. Vincent Arthur, how did you overcome that battle, dude?
This is just one of our races. Kind of similar to Atlanta. I just showed up, ran my own race, did what I needed to do, stayed close enough, and then towards the end there, just made it count. I felt like all night I didn't have quite the takeoff speed that Dalton did, but the last 35 laps on the run, I feel like I was the best car. So all I needed to do was get some track position on him, and ironically enough, I started extending my stints longer into the race just because I wanted to lead a lap to gain the 5 points that Jacob had gotten for leading a lap earlier in the race for the championship, and then that ironically brought me into the fight for the win. And then kind of the last 2 runs before that final run, I would fire off in the 28s, and I'm setting fastest laps of the race. So I figured, okay, I'm close enough. Let me use the short run pace that I discovered and try to make something happen. And then once I got around him, I knew that I just needed to fend him off for the next 10 laps, and then I'd be able to walk away with it. And yeah, it was Darlington's a really fun track, especially in these cars, having to lift super early and being able to move around in the top to bottom, sticking up near the wall. I just had a really fun time tonight, and it was nice to get one before the year's out, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, last time you were here, it ended up you only led 9 laps, finished third. This time you lead more than 9 laps and finally come away with the win. I do have to poke you a little bit, though. Contact out there with the number 41. It looked like somebody got into somebody there on turn 1. He was a lapped car, but what the heck happened there?
I don't think there was any contact. At least I didn't get any X's registered or anything like that. It's just, I know he hit the wall. I heard it, and I thought my race was going to end because normally whenever somebody hits the wall above you, they shoot off of it and into your right rear. But
yep.
Yeah, I mean, going into turn 1 side by side, it's always going to be tight. But I don't think there, or at least I didn't think there was any contact. I didn't get any X's there, so not really sure. But glad he didn't bounce off the wall and take probably 3 of us out in that one wreck.
Okay, yeah, that we lost it right behind the wall when we saw the 2 of you guys head in, and then all I saw was smoke, sparks, and the right front of his car was totaled out. I wasn't sure if there was a side draft problem, because a lot of guys tonight, even when you got behind another car, man, once you took the air off that rear spoiler, guys started skating all over the track. It was pretty wild, and I think we rode with you at one point, I think chasing behind, I think it was the 84 Wayne Eastwood. Got super loose out there, and guys started, almost ice skating out there on the track.
Yeah, and I mean, I was battling connection issues tonight as well, so I didn't really. That was another thing, leading by like 2 seconds, and then everybody disappeared for like half a lap. So I was just trying to see the white flag there at the end. But yeah, I mean, I kind of noticed it a lot at Atlanta. Not so much here, but you could definitely take the air off the rear spoiler here and get guys loose in front of you. And yeah, it's just it's a tool as a trailing car that you have to be able to try to pass a guy in front of you. So yeah, it's pretty cool that they're able to replicate that in here. And yeah, this is definitely a track where all your tires are taking a beating.
Yep. All right, man. Well, awesome job here tonight. We saw you battle all the way back. Awesome. Starting on the outside of the front row, but kind of tumbling back there, third, fourth sometimes. But definitely good pit stops out there and then getting back out there and coming away with the win. Fantastic job there, Vincent. Go ahead and give me a shout-out here, brother.
Yeah, I got to thank Wake Up Narcolepsy, Damn Good Sleep, Harmony Biosciences, really just everybody who helps make this deal go around. Thank you for the broadcast. Thank Josh and the rest of the guys for putting on this league and letting me drive these race cars week in, week out. It's been a really long year. It's crazy to think that next week's the last week of the season, but yeah, it's been fun. We're out of championship contention, but we pulled out a win here at the end. So thanks to everybody watching at home. Like Dalton says every week, thanks to the guys who showed up. Clean and green in Darlington is not something you hear very often, so I had a lot of fun tonight, and we'll go into Homestead and try to rip the wall and maybe pick up another checker flag before the year's out.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just about to ask you. All right, man. Hopefully we'll see how Homestead goes for you. Congratulations on bringing that DuPont Chevrolet into the winner's circle. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Vincent Arthur out there in the number 24. I'm glad I was able to kind of poke him a little bit out there about the Ryan Housden incident. He said there was no contact, and we did lose it on our screen whether or not there was contact. He also lost a little bit of connection out there. Couldn't see anybody for half a lap. We couldn't see him for half a lap. So I guarantee you he wasn't the only one puckered up, but he was one of the 3 Chevrolets that did finish in the top 3. Awesome job tonight. Chevrolet's definitely command and conquered tonight here at Darlington. All right, it looks like the plans will stay, so next week, 8:30, will be the finale here for the 2004 season, and it looks like Dalton Tucker may have this one in the bag, so it looks like I'll be 100% sure probably in the next 48 hours if we are racing next Monday or if they're going to postpone it and wait till after the holidays. I would say probably go ahead and race it. Normally, once you skip a week, a few things happen and guys have trouble returning. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for us at SimTraX Broadcasting. Appreciate you hanging in there. I was the only one here tonight, but that's going to do it for us here with the National Oval Racing Association, the Gen 4 Cup Series. Be well, be safe, be kind. We'll see all you guys next time.